In your Canvas email, you should find the sketch file that I scanned for you of your design. You're going to download that file and have it ready to go into Photoshop. So I'm going to create new. I'm going to name this file Mondala, 8.5 by 11 inches in size, 300 ppi and CMYK. Now normally I'd have you file open and then you would drop your artwork into the artboard, but in this case we are going to do file, place linked, go into your downloads, find your file, and have it clipped onto the artboard for you. I am doing this because the center point of this mandala is extremely important for the symmetry tool to work. So I'm not going to touch this. I'm going to leave it. I'm not going to stretch it any bigger. I don't care if the bounding box doesn't go to the edge. It has to stay just the way it is. And because of its position and the importance of that, I'm going to lock that layer. So in your layers panel, and you'll notice I went to window to turn my layers back on, I'm going to make sure there's a lock on that layer. We're going to end up turning this off at the end, so I don't want anything to happen to the movement of this layer. We're going to make a new layer. I'm going to grab my paintbrush. A couple things you need to do with your paintbrush. First, turn it on black and white. Second, come up here to the settings and choose hard round under general brushes. Make sure your opacity is at 100%, and you start off with a fairly small brush. We want to get a fine detail for the drawing part. I am using the mouse. I don't have a lot of hand control with the Wacom tablet like some of you. If you choose to do that, that is completely fine. You can use the tablet for the entire project. I'm going to paint with the tablet later. You'll notice when you turn your brush on, you have a butterfly that pops up here. These are symmetry designs, or symmetrical designs. We are going to go to Mandala, choose 8 segments, click OK, and this is very important. You want to bring this to the center of your design and get it as close to the original drawing as you can. If you are having a hard time, your mouse is not letting you get as close as you want, you can use your arrow key on your keyboard to bring it up, down, and across. And once you have it set, you go ahead and hit return to turn that off. I'm going to zoom up here at the top. You'll notice my symmetry tool turned off because I went from the paint tool to the zoom tool. But I'm just going to zoom in here first and then come back to the paintbrush and it will already be there again. So I'm going to go ahead with my black paint. I have my paintbrush set on 10. That might be a good size for you to start with. And I only have to do one side. And we can't really see it right now because I need to move or zoom this out, but your whole design is starting to show up on all the other segments. Please also know, since your sketch was done with human hands, there's room for error. So if there's changes that you'd like to make or add, this is the time to do it. And I'm just going to come in here and trace out my design. It takes time. You can also vary up the thickness and thinness of your brush so that you're not brushing at the same thickness for all of the sections or all of the objects. So if I was to change my brush without having to go up to the top, I can do my brackets. And you are trying to prevent yourself from having to go to the toolbar. I'm just undoing every time I mess up. For some reason this leaf is giving me trouble with my hand. Gotta slow down. Alright. Pay attention to that center because you are making a very pretty pattern in the middle of your mandala. And now you have a finished mandala. You can choose if you want to in the same layer to do a black circle. If you choose to do that, you would come and grab your ellipse tool, start in the center, get it nice and centered with the axis, drag it out with the Option key held down, and try to fit it along that line. You can thicken the stroke to the thickness that you want. And when you paint, you can paint right on top of this. The next video I'm going to show you is how to color your mandala.